Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. On today, we have a very special challenge: how to ruin your game in less than 30 minutes, featuring Helldivers 2. If they can complete this challenge, we'll give them $1 million. Just kidding, everybody. Basically, if you're living under a rock, Helldivers 2 has gotten into some very deep, muddy waters, and at this point, they took probably one of the best games of the year and made it one of the worst. So, Wes, give us a little bit of insight on what's going on with that.
So, Helldivers is requiring everyone that has the game on PC, purchased on Steam, to sign up for a PSN account. There are maybe approximately 120 plus countries that won't be able to sign up for a PSN account, right? Sony asked the Helldivers crew to kind of get this set up initially 6 months ahead of time. The Helldivers CEO knew that he had this responsibility, but when Helldivers came out, they were having server issues, right? So they put that on hold to fix the server issues, and they were supposed to notify the entire community. So this was always on the slate. I don't think this was a slip up by Sony. I think this is just poor communication. It's a smaller development team. They got really excited. They were handling a lot of server issues and then a popularity. Everyone's loving the game at the same time. And so now when things are starting to settle down, the game is still doing well. They announced this, that you have to sign up for a PSN account, and it pissed off a lot of people. Number one, people in certain countries can't play it. And number two, certain people just don't want to give Sony access to their information. Sony has had some data breaches. A lot of companies have, but those are among some of the reasons that I've heard why people are unhappy about this, right? So how are you feeling about it, Nug?
Honestly, I just think that there were a lot of things that went wrong, and I think that this situation just was a simple miscommunication and a bad move by Sony. But one of the things that I thought personally was, if originally when this first happened, they said they were going to remove the game from other countries. My question to you is, would that have been okay if they gave a full refund? Because they were going to give a full refund on Steam. Steam was going to give a full refund to anybody who was going to have to go through that. Do you think that was an acceptable response? I saw a lot of people saying that this was trash, and my thing was, it is trash, but if you're getting your money back, is it still trash, or how bad? Because I feel like there are so many different layers with this.
I think kudos to Steam for always handling. I feel like Steam is like the fucking Costco of the internet, right? They just handle things totally different and always in an acceptable way to me, right? So Steam was like, hey, you guys have issues. It's way past our acceptance return window, which is like 2 hours or something. But we know this negative thing is going on. We'll refund the game, not on them, right? But on Steam to, step up and take care of this thing. So I don't think this was a Steam thing, but was that fair enough? Was that enough? I think it was enough, and maybe Sony could have just threw people like a little discount coupon or something. Here's $25 on your next game or something, or Arrowhead. Somebody had to do something a little extra, because people wouldn't have purchased this game in certain countries had they known they wouldn't have been able to access it at all, right? I wouldn't pick it up. I can't play it over here. I'm not gonna buy it, right? Save me the trouble of locking in, having fun, spending much. So there's in-game currency or in-game items that you can buy, right? So on top of the refund, what happens to the things that I know I've bought a few things, but you can find things in the world, credits in the world. Double O has bought a few things, right? So it goes even deeper now. I want extra monies back. So I don't know. Let me ask you this question, right? A lot of our mutuals were really bent out of shape about this and weren't even playing the game, and it seemed to like bug you. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like what about that pissed you off so much? Because I think that's an important part of it too.
My honest opinion, and this was a very small subset of people. My honest opinion that this was a very terrible situation by Sony and Arrowhead. They really dropped the ball on this completely. My only frustration was that the situation was different depending on what country you lived in.
Right.
Here in the United States, it was only a 5-second process for us to make an account and sign in. In other countries, it was a big deal because they couldn't access the game at all. I felt for the people in other countries more than I felt for the people in our country, because in our country, you had access to the game. I feel like a lot of people started getting on these hate trains of, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. This is anti-consumer. This is yada, yada, yada. And it's not directly affecting you. Am I saying that, because something doesn't affect you, you should ignore it? No, but I do feel like we have like a what is the word? a mob mentality when it comes
Mhm.
to some of these things. It's like, hey, one person's upset about something. This is terrible. Now we're all going to join in. And so
Yeah.
again, solidarity is great, but know why you're in solidarity with something. Because when this first dropped, they didn't say that they were going to remove it in every country at first. That's not what they said. So before they even said that other countries weren't getting the game at all, everybody was just, "Arr!" And it just was this big thing. So
Right.
again, that was kind of my take. People said I was being a pony for that. So I don't know.
I think in all fairness, man, I agree. You called it out that you don't agree with any of this stuff. But for me, what I like to see is let the dust settle, right? So there's stories coming from all over the place. Sony. Sony's messed up. People on the Arrowhead team are going off, or the community managers are going off, and the CEO just kind of came out, was like, I messed up, right? Um, that's kind of what it boils down to, and it wasn't on Sony. Sony pre-warned them. Sony's been doing this for a long time. It was a contractual obligation that they had to fulfill. So it doesn't feel like Sony was just like, all right, I see you guys doing well, now we want to make all the money. No, you guys had to do this from the start. You guys messed up. You guys got busy, and now you're getting things set up properly, and now we're all this drama's happening. So I don't.
I I want to I want to
Mhm.
say that Arrowhead is 100% to blame for this, right?
Okay,
However,
that's fair.
I just think that given the circumstances, I can see how they made the mistake.
Yeah,
I could see
100%.
our Helldivers one was a hit, but it was more like our community hit, like a cult classic. You know, it wasn't just as mainstream as Helldivers 2, obviously.
Right.
Helldivers 2 comes out and the entire world is playing. Everybody is messing with this game. This game is blown up. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, people can't get into servers. You're having server issues. You're having all these issues. You don't know how to deal with this stuff because you never had a game do this well. And you're just kind of
Right.
taking it day by day. So naturally, I could see Arrowhead saying, hey, let's just drop this so people can just get into our game. And then you forget. And then the cows come home to roost, or whatever they say it is. The chickens come home to roost. And it's like, someone's like, hey, you promised us this and you didn't do it. Now it's a big mess up. So I think that I feel for them in the sense of this is just a learning lesson for everybody. Was it
Mhm.
stupid? Yes. But I don't think that they just decided to just say, hey, let's just screw over everybody. I think that legitimately they probably, like you said, they had a deal with Sony to do this certain thing and it just
Mhm.
wasn't communicated well, which is why Arrowhead CEO said what he said. And I don't think people should have sympathy for the guy, but I just think that when you have a bunch of success that you're not prepared for, you don't have infrastructures in place for, these things tend to happen.
And I don't think, I think people are upset, but they're still going to play a game. I watch a lot of Asmongold, and he said a lot of interesting things about this. Number one, had they given some people that were hesitant about signing up for a PSN, like some armor or some credits or something, that would have probably did it a little bit smoother. Except for the countries that just can't play it at all. And then everyone that loves the game, no matter what's going on with it, is still going to play it. So I'm assuming that after all this kind of boils over, people are going to be jumping back into it. I saw a whole host of my friends playing it today. I saw people playing it on Twitch. So I don't think the game is dead, even though it got a bunch of negative reviews over on Steam. I just think they need to clean
We
up this PR mess and move on.
Well, no, so that's another thing that kind of frustrated me.
Okay.
Review bombing is, to me, it
Mm.
just does more. I don't agree with it. Like
Okay.
I get it. You know, we have to make a stand somehow, but I'm just not big into review bombing anything. I don't like any type of review bombing because I feel like it's disingenuous. You know, if you have a serious concern, boom. If you just review bombing because everyone else is do it, or it's just I don't like it. And so, but I do want to say that the people did what they had to do because ultimately the reviews had gotten really bad. It was like what 30,000, 40,000 bad reviews came in at one time. It was a lot of bad reviews to the point that things got done. And now Arrowhead is saying, hey, if you leave us a good Steam review, we'll give you like 50 tokens or something. And it's kind of made me feel like, dang, like, you know, one bad decision or one weekend can change the entire landscape of your game. So now you're basically begging people to leave you a good review as if this is like some mobile game or like it's Sickening,
Wait, you said they review bombed it, but I watched some folks on Twitch go in and leave negative reviews based on what's been happening with, having them sign up for this PSN account. So I think if you're just going to be like, the game's trash, but if you're going in and leaving a review and saying, hey, because of this new thing that wasn't told to us ahead of time prior to purchasing the game, I think some of it's fair, right?
Okay.
So
okay, that's not bombing. I apologize. That's bad on my part. So they're just leaving the bad reviews. It worked. Like I'll say it worked. They did what they were supposed to do, and now you got Helldivers begging for good reviews. And it's like it worked a little bit.
Right.
They're starting to come up a little more, but all in all, how do you think this affects them as far as Hell? Is Helldivers going to be remembered as like that trash game going forward? Will they still be in the running for like some of the praises, that game of the year, some of the multiplayer praises, some of the live service praises, or are we going to just be like, yeah, Helldivers had it all, and now they've blown it? Is this the end of Helldivers too?
I've been tired of Helldivers for quite some time. Me being tired of it is like personal preference. I think that it's going to blow over much like everything else. And Helldivers is a great live service game. They're doing a lot of cool things, which other companies are watching. So I think this is going to blow over and things are going to go back to normal. Next week, we won't even remember this. We'll be focused on Kendrick and Drake.
Oh man, that's a whole nother situation. So all in all, I think that it's important to learn from these things, and of course, as games progress and people will look at this stuff in the future, just be upfront on people from the beginning. Don't take shortcuts. I know we hear that since like being a kid, but taking shortcuts can lead to mess ups like this. So that's all I had on the situation. Did you have anything?
Yeah, Arrowhead, you probably should have worked with Microsoft. They would have just let you ride this one out. I'm just saying.
Brother.
Hey, let's get... This has been addressed, folks. Leave some comments below. Let us know.
Peace. Let us know, man.